Hey guys, it's Brian again from LakeHickoryScuba and Marina. Got another video discussion for you. Today we're going to look at full face mask and we're going to talk about alternate air sources. We get asked this quite a bit. How do you switch to an alternate air source while using a full face mask? And for the ones that are certified or already use an alternate or a full face mask, typically you're going to be carrying your full face mask. You're going to have a traditional mask as a spare or a backup, and you're also going to have a alternate second stage, maybe attached to a pony or something of that sort. So in the event that you run out of air, you simply remove the full face mask, put your alternate, and we'll talk about it in a minute, put it in your mouth, clear it and breathe it, pull out your spare mask, place it on your face, clear it, and then you go on about your dive or abort your dive, whatever you need to do. But let's talk about a couple of other options. I'm going to show you one option that I personally choose to go with. And what I want you to remember, though, there's no one right or wrong way to do it. It's what works best for you. Now, there's many different types or fields of diving out there that full face masks are not quite as popular in. One, of course, being side mount, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk why it's not that popular, but we will show you how you can use it. Same thing with technical diving. Now, of course, in the salvage side of things, technical, a lot of times you're helmet diving, but in just your typical tech diver who's out there, he's probably not going to be in a full face mask, and we'll talk about why that is, but we'll show you some options there. A couple of the other fields, we talked a little bit about salvage. Let's talk about public safety divers, and we do a lot of public safety diving here in our area, but we're going to talk about that too, and how we get around switching to alternate air sources if we need to, such as in a hazmatic environment. So let's take a quick look of what we're going to be working with here and talk about some of the options, go over the pros and cons, and then at the end, I'm going to ask for some of your suggestions of how you use yours. As usual with any of the products that we display here, of course we sell them. Down in the description there'll be links that you can buy each of these products straight from our online store. So if you got a question or you want to purchase it, simply click on the link. It'll take you to that product page and you can make your purchase. So this is my personal mask. This is what I use 2 to 3 days a week here at the store. And I use it for multiple situations. Maybe I'm just teaching a full face mask class. We do a lot of salvage diving here, so I would use it for that. And of course, we do a lot of public safety diving here in our area, and I use it for it. So, but on my mask itself, I've just got a standard Ocean Reef G Divers full face mask. Nothing fancy about it. It's just their baseline model. Works great for the type of diving that I do. Some of the additional features that I've added onto my mask, of course, I do mount a camera onto the mask. I record every dive that I do. It's set for training dives as far as students go, but I record all my public safety dives. Maybe if I'm doing an underwater investigation, I can document that information. I record all our salvage dives. Maybe I'm working on an underwater dock for somebody or whatnot. I can record the damage, show the customer what it looks like. With that being said, I do have 2 flashlights mounted up top here. Makes great for hands-free activities if I'm working on something. Plus, they're always in the direction that I'm looking, so that works great. I do use a comm unit so I can talk to the surface and or to my buddy, whoever's underwater. And then, of course, I got the receiving unit. And then over here on the side, typically speaking, if I'm just diving the full face mask, it's a recreational situation. I'm not in a hazmatic environment. I'm not diving side mount. And it's warm, and I'm not worried about having to take the mask on and off. Of course, I would have my surface air valve attached to the mask. That way I can breathe ambient air at the surface, still have the mask on to protect my face from the environment or whatnot, but I don't have to waste the air. However, if I'm in a side mount situation or I'm in a public safety diving situation or just an extremely cold water situation, we go up every year and we do ice diving up in the Adirondack Mountains. So when I'm in those situations, I choose to go with an alternate air source that's a little bit more practical so that I don't have to remove the mask in the unlikelihood event I do run out of air. And so basically what I've done, Ocean Reef makes this little regulator connector or adapter, and what it does, it screws in the same way that your surface air valve does, and it screws into the same mask port that your surface air valve does. Now once you have it screwed up in there, if you look at the outside part here, it kind of looks like where the mouthpiece attaches to a standard second stage. And if you can imagine, for instance, you're going to take your standard second stage, cut off the mouthpiece, and then slide it up in here and run a zip tie over it. And basically this connects to your second stage, and then this end screws into the mask itself. And the end result kind of looks like this. You're going to have a second stage that attaches to your full face mask. Now, it's a little bit more bulky, and there's some other considerations as far as having it turned the right way and all that, but it's not that difficult to attach. It's very user-friendly. So let's talk about first why we do it. We'll talk about the cons, but then we're going to also talk about the pros. Now, the reason we do that is so that we can have an alternate air source pre-attached to the mask. So in the unlikelihood event we run out of air, we're not having to remove this mask, switch to a different alternate air source, and switch to an alternate mask itself. Now, some of the cons to it. This mask in itself is not positive pressure. It's still a demand valve system, meaning when I breathe in, it's going to suck in on the diaphragm of this regulator, open the demand lever, give me air. So how do I know if I have two second stages attached to the mask, which one I'm going to be breathing off of? Well, the easiest thing to do, of course, is change the cracking pressure to each one. And with the Ocean Reef, I have a little adjustment knob here that I can detune or tune the regulator, make it easier or harder to breathe. But on this alternate second stage, I don't have one. So I would actually have to get a technician, or if you are a technician, detune this reg so that I'm breathing off the primary and not taking any air here. However, you want to be careful not to completely detune it so that if you do run out of air and you start inhaling and taking air from this one, that it's not too difficult to breathe. So that's one con that we got to worry about. How do we know which one to use? And I'm going to show you an option there outside of actually detuning it. So what is that option, and how do I use it? One of those options, of course, is to put an inline shutoff valve on your second stage. And basically what it would do is your hose from that second stage, from your alternate, say your pony or something, would just screw into there. Now I currently have it in the off position, so now I'm breathing from this regulator. In the event I run out of air, I simply slide the inline shutoff to the on position. Now I'm breathing off this regulator. So that is a great option to use if you want your alternate air source pre-attached so that you don't have to take the mask off in the event that you run out of air. Now, another quick con to it is you need to practice with it. If you're used to warmer environments, now you switch to colder environments and you're using thicker gloves, maybe you don't have that much dexterity, you're going to have to reach up and manipulate that. The last con I would talk about is to make sure that you have this in the proper position. You don't want it in that on position at the beginning of the dive. You do want your tank turned on, you do want it pressurized, and you do want air coming to the second stage, but don't have the inline on and off switch in the on position, because then you're going to have air coming from both regs as you're breathing, and you're going to actually be breathing up your alternate air source at the same time as your primary. So make sure that it's in the proper position when you're doing that. But other than that, it is a great system to go with because it prevents you from having to take the mask off when switching to an alternate air source. This would work great in a side mount diving situation, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video another option, or talk about another option that you could do too. But for our recreational side mount divers out there, this is a great system. Now, for the ones that don't know much about side mount, in side mount you're diving two independent cylinders, and you're going to have to keep them balanced out, or trimmed out, if you will, throughout the entire length of the dive. So basically you're going to be breathing so many PSI, and I typically do 500 to 500 or 300 to 300. I'm going to breathe this tank down 500 PSI, or in 500 PSI increments. Don't breathe it all the way to 500, but breathe it down 500 PSI increments and then switch over to this tank. And typically you're going to have 2 second stages to do that. Well, if you're set up with a full face mask and side mount, now you can do that. The only thing to think about there is whichever one you're using, you're going to have a inline shutoff switch to the open. If you're doing that, you're going to have to add an additional inline shutoff valve tool or valve to your primary up here as well. That way you can turn them on and off as you go. Now the cons to that is that's just that much more equipment that you're going to have. The last option that I'll talk about for alternate air sources, of course, is the gas block. If you're going to be using a full face mask in a side mount diving situation, go with the gas block. It's going to be the most simplest and easiest way to do it. It's a lot more expensive, but that is how I would do it in a side mount. This, to me, is going to be the option in the event it's an out-of-air emergency and you're completely switching over to an independent alternate air source. That's why I would use this. Now let's talk about just a few more options here that we can do. With Ocean Reef, they're very big on their quick disconnect hoses, and I personally like their quick disconnect hose. I can just simply undo the mask at will and pop it back in when I'm ready to get air. Maybe I'm fixing to make the dive or whatnot. So another option you could do is to buy a second quick disconnect hose and a second male quick disconnect adapter, and then you would put that adapter on your standard alternate, okay? And you wouldn't have this attached to your mask. You'd have it clipped to a D-ring or hanging around your neck on a necklace. And then you would have your second quick disconnect hooked into the alternate. That way you've got multiple options. You can remove the mask, go to the alternate, and switch to your traditional mask if need be. Or let's say you're not the one out of air and you do have to donate, you can still donate in just a traditional situation, a buddy breather alternate air source situation. You could do that. But in the event, let's say that this is hooked to a pony system and you got a quick disconnect, all you would have to do is take off your quick disconnect, just let it flop behind you. You can take the quick disconnect off your alternate, pop it off, and then plug it in, and now it's coming from your pony or your alternate air source, whatever you're using, straight into the mask. So that is another great option to use. As with anything, anytime you change gear configuration or you're trying something new, practice, practice, practice. Go to the pool, make 5 to 10 dives, get comfortable with it, and then make another 5 to 10 dives. Then go to a local diving environment, stay shallow, get good, get very good and consistent using these methods before you do more advanced type dives doing that. The last thing, of course, that we'll talk about, of course, is the gas block. It's probably the most expensive setup, but the theory and idea behind a gas block is just an aluminum or a stainless steel block system. It's going to have 2 inputs for 2 low pressure hoses, and you're going to have a single output. So I can run my primary tank into that input. I can run my alternate tank, such as my pony or another, say if I'm in side mount and I dive 2 aluminum 80s for side mount, I can run both of them into that gas block, and then the output of it comes out to a single hose that can plug straight in. Now, the beauty to the gas block is, especially the Ocean Reef one, they've got a little tab that blocks the switch itself. So whichever one you're setting on, you can lock it to that. If you need to change, you just pull the tab up, switch it over, and stick the tab back in. And that's a great way that you can switch back and forth very easily and very efficiently. But that, once again, the major con to that is they tend to be a little bit on the expensive side. So I hope you can start to see there's many different options out there. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just your way. What works for you? If you're a tech diver, you're breathing multiple gases, my suggestion would be, and you want to use a full face mask, go with the gas block. Okay, that's going to be your most simplest way to do it. If you're a public safety diver, maybe you dive for a team somewhere, you're not just a volunteer, you're a paid team, go with the gas block if you can afford it. If not, go with a system like I use here, because it is going to be an independent system. It's tried and true method, and it works. And it's very simple. It's just a quick on and off valve here that attaches to the hose, and then of course I can attach the second stage straight into the mask. And of course, probably the most traditional method, of course, is just to dive the full face mask, have an alternate clipped off somewhere, and then carry the spare mask in a pocket, have it clipped to a D-ring or whatnot. But there are many options out there. Just please make sure you practice however you plan on to dive. Guys, I really hope you learned something from this video. Please, down in the comments below, send us some comments, some likes, dislikes, whatever. Let us know. Send us your pictures, how you use your full face mask, how you set it up for an alternate air source system. put a video response down below. Let us see how you set your system up. What works for you may actually work better for us, so let us see that. That's the beauty about the dive industry. We can share techniques, we can share equipment, we can share philosophies with other divers, and it just makes us more well-rounded and better educated as divers. So make sure you share with us how you do it. If you got suggestions of how you do an alternate, how you attach your camera, how you do lights, your comm unit, whatever it may be, put that down below in the comments. Let us hear it. Let us see the way you do it, because that's why we make these videos. We make them for you. We like taking suggestions as well. So if you got a comment or concern, please put it down below. Once again, any of the products that you see here on this mask or on this mannequin head here, we sell all these products. We don't use nothing that we don't sell. So there'll be links in the description below. If you want to purchase any of these, simply click on the link. It'll take you straight to our online store, to that product page, and you can purchase those products. Guys, I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope it helped some of you out. I hope it helped you understand how we do our systems, what options you have out there for alternate air source systems and using a full face mask. And please comment. Let us know what you think about it. Guys, as always, make sure you follow us on Twitter, you like us on Facebook, pin us on Pinterest, subscribe to us here on YouTube, and as always, guys, we appreciate your business.